Picture this. It is 3 a.m. and you are staring at your glucose meter with tears in your eyes. Despite doing everything right, your blood sugar is 287. You feel like a failure. Again, you want to throw that meter against the wall and just give up. If this sounds familiar, you are not alone. You are experiencing what Dr. William Polonsky calls diabetes burnout. And his groundbreaking book might just save your sanity and your life. Every single day, people with diabetes make over 180 health-related decisions. That is more decisions than an air traffic controller makes during a busy shift. Yet, unlike air traffic controllers, diabetics never get to clock out. There is no vacation from diabetes, no weekend break, no retirement. And here is the kicker. Even when you do everything perfectly, your blood sugar might still betray you. Is it any wonder that millions of people with diabetes eventually hit a wall? Dr. Polonsky, a clinical psychologist and certified diabetes educator, has spent decades studying why smart, motivated people suddenly stop caring for their diabetes. What he discovered will change how you think about this condition forever. Diabetes burnout is not a character flaw. It is not weakness. It is a predictable, preventable, and most importantly, treatable response to an impossible situation. Let me share what makes this book revolutionary. Dr. Polonsky starts by validating something the medical community often ignores. Diabetes is not just a physical disease. It is an emotional marathon that nobody trained you for. Think about it. When you were diagnosed, they taught you about carbs and insulin. But did anyone prepare you for the guilt of eating birthday cake? The shame of high readings? The exhaustion of being perfect every single day? The book identifies 4 types of diabetes, burnout, and understanding which one you are experiencing is crucial. First, there is overwhelm, burnout. This is when the sheer volume of diabetes tasks becomes crushing. You feel like you are drowning in blood checks, carb counting, medication timing, and doctor appointments. Sarah, a teacher from Ohio, described it perfectly. I felt like diabetes was my second full-time job, except this one never paid overtime and the boss was trying to kill me. Then there is failure, burnout. This hits when despite your best efforts, your numbers will not cooperate. You follow every rule, count every carb, take every medication, yet your A1C creeps up. The feeling, like studying hard for an exam, only to fail repeatedly. Your body becomes the unreliable teammate that keeps letting you down. The third type is isolation burnout. Diabetes can be incredibly lonely. Your friends do not understand why you cannot just eat normally. Your family gets tired of hearing about your blood sugar. You feel like you are fighting this battle entirely alone, and that isolation becomes unbearable. Finally, there is depression-related burnout. This is when diabetes burnout triggers or worsens clinical depression. The constant vigilance, the fear of complications, the daily grind, it all becomes too heavy to carry. Dr. Polonsky found that people with diabetes are twice as likely to experience depression, yet most are never screened for it. Now here is where the book gets practical. Dr. Polonsky introduces the behavioral diabetes reset, step-by-step approach to climbing out of burnout. The first step might surprise you: permission to be imperfect. He argues that the pursuit of perfect blood sugar control is not just impossible. It is actively harmful. Instead, he advocates for good enough diabetes management. What does that look like? Maybe checking blood sugar 4 times a day instead of 8. Perhaps estimating carbs instead of weighing every morsel. The goal is sustainable management, not perfection. The book presents a powerful concept called diabetes vacations. No, you cannot actually take a break from having diabetes, but you can strategically reduce your diabetes burden for short periods. Dr. Polonsky shares the story of Michael Wong, an engineer who is ready to stop all diabetes care. Instead of quitting entirely, he took a structured 2-week vacation, where he only did the absolute minimum, took his medication, and avoided obvious high-carb foods. No blood sugar checks, no carb counting, no logging. After 2 weeks, he felt refreshed enough to gradually resume fuller management. This controlled break prevented a complete breakdown. One of the most valuable sections addresses diabetes distress versus depression. Dr. Polonsky provides a simple screening tool to determine which you are experiencing. Why does this matter? Because diabetes distress often improves with practical diabetes-specific interventions, while depression requires different treatment. Knowing the difference can save years of unnecessary suffering. The book demolishes common diabetes myths that fuel burnout. Myth 1. Bad blood sugars mean you are a bad person. Dr. Polonsky shows how blood sugar levels are influenced by over 42 factors, many beyond your control. Stress hormones, illness, weather changes, sleep quality all affect glucose. Blaming yourself for every high reading is like blaming yourself for rain. Myth 2. Complications are inevitable if you are not perfect. The data shows that even modest improvements in control significantly reduce complication risk. You do not need perfect blood sugars to protect your health. You need persistently decent ones. The chapter on relationship dynamics is eye-opening. Dr. Polonsky introduces the concept of diabetes police, well-meaning loved ones who become overly involved in your diabetes management. He provides scripts for setting boundaries, like, "I appreciate your concern, but I need to manage this my way." The most helpful thing you can do is support my decisions even when they are not perfect. The book also tackles the financial burden that contributes to burnout. When insulin costs more than your mortgage payment, when test strips become a luxury, when you are rationing supplies to survive, burnout is not just likely. It is logical. Dr. Polonsky provides resources for assistance, programs and advocates for systemic change while offering practical tips for managing costs. One particularly powerful section addresses diabetes rebellion. This is when burnout manifests as deliberate self-sabotage. Eating entire pizzas, skipping insulin, throwing away supplies, these are not acts of stupidity, but desperate attempts to reclaim control. Dr. Polonsky reframes rebellion as communication. Your psyche telling you that something needs to change. Instead of shame, he encourages curiosity. What is the rebellion trying to tell you? The book includes a burnout recovery toolkit with specific exercises. One favorite is the minimum effective dose exercise. You list all your diabetes tasks, then identify the 20% that provide 80% of the benefit. Focus only on those during recovery periods. Another tool is glucose meditation, where you practice observing blood sugar numbers without judgment, like watching clouds pass in the sky. Dr. Polonsky addresses the healthcare system's role in burnout. 15-minute appointments where doctors focus only on numbers, not the human being generating them. He empowers readers to advocate for themselves, providing phrases like, "Before we discuss my numbers, I need you to know I am struggling emotionally with diabetes management." The section on technology burnout is particularly relevant today. Continuous glucose monitors, insulin pumps, apps, they promise easier management, but can become digital tyrants. The constant alarms, the information overload, the pressure to respond to every trend. Dr. Polonsky advocates for technology boundaries, including designated times to silence devices and periodic analog days using traditional management methods. As we near the end, Dr. Polonsky shares recovery stories that offer hope. Like Jennifer, who went from checking blood sugar 15 times daily to a sustainable 4 times, and actually improved her A1C. Or David, who stopped all diabetes care for 6 months, then used the book's methods to rebuild a management routine he has maintained for 5 years. The book concludes with a powerful message. Diabetes burnout is not a personal failure. It is a normal response to an abnormal situation. Recovery is not about trying harder. It is about trying differently. It is about finding the sweet spot between caring for your diabetes and having a life worth living. So here is my challenge to you. If you are experiencing diabetes burnout, stop beating yourself up and start being strategic. Pick one concept from this book, just one, and try it this week. Maybe it is dropping one non-essential diabetes task. Maybe it is having an honest conversation with your doctor. Maybe it is simply accepting that good enough is, well, good enough. Because, as Dr. Polonsky shows us, the opposite of burnout is not perfect control. It is sustainable, compassionate, flexible management that lets you live your life, not just manage your disease. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever tried this hack for blood sugar? Got your own tips or success story? Share your own experiences. Drop it in the comments. Your experience might inspire someone else. And if this video helped you, don't forget to like, share, and hit subscribe for more powerful health tips. Your support helps this message reach more people battling diabetes naturally.